Y'all, Peck here. We got a live CHGO Bulls pod coming up for y'all right around the corner. Bulls resume action post All-Star break tomorrow night, but we heard from Billy Donovan at practice today. We heard from Modest at practice today, and we heard from Lonzo talking about his new contract at practice today. We're going to break it all down next. What's going on, Bulls Nation? Welcome into the CHGO Bulls Podcast. Coming to you live from our studios here in West Loop, downtown Chicago. I'm Peck, Bulls_Peck. That's Big Dave. Bam! Bam! BAWL Sports. Will, the GOAT, perfectly coiffed Gottlieb, Will_Gottlieb. And the queen of the controls, one and only, Katie Duffy. What up, Kate? Hey!
Hi!
Hey, I got a question. What did Mama Katie say?
She hasn't answered yet.
She hasn't answered?
I'll keep you updated.
Okay, keep me updated.
About what?
About you meeting Kirk Heinrich and not telling Katie about it, Will.
Yeah, I was going to give him a couple minutes, but no, we can talk about
you want to get on him now?
I'm calling him out right away.
I started it. You can't do that to her, man.
Will the GOAT
I didn't realize that was coming up on the show.
What? What show you been doing? Of course this is coming up on the show. Let's go.
Will Gottlieb met my personal hero, Kirk Heinrich, and he, number one, waited like a week to tell me, which is just crazy.
Rude.
And second of all, did not say anything to Kirk about me and didn't ask Kirk to come on our show.
Thrice rude.
Yeah.
You want to explain yourself?
This is probably how Joey felt when you didn't when he didn't offer to get Portillo's for you.
Yeah.
And he felt the wrath.
Again, rude.
Mm-hmm. I know how he feels now. I apologize. It was a very brief thing. I should have known better.
Do better next time, Go.
Do better next time. I will.
It's all right, Go, man.
I will.
It's all right.
I'll be better.
I think you'll be all right.
I think actually what will happen is I just won't tell Katie about it next time.
Yeah, smart man. Smart man. That's cool, bro.
I'll know.
Secrets are no fun. Secrets hurt someone.
Somewhere in my soul, I will know.
You never heard that one?
No, ever. Where did you get that?
I think it's from The Office.
Oh, okay. All right, I'll allow it.
When Michael Scott is asking the stripper they bring to come into the office whether or not he should tell his girlfriend Jan that he got stuff on.
All right. I'll allow this. This is all right. I texted Katie's mom.
Yeah.
Because Katie gave me her phone to show me what mom said.
You text her from her phone?
From her phone, yes. And I said, hey, this is Big Dave. I love you and I miss you.
That's very sweet.
She keeps hiding them from me, man. She keeps hiding them on from me.
Well, we've been over this because we're afraid that once our family members meet you, they will like you more than they like us. I've already been through that. It hurts.
I just want to spread love, man. To the woman who created Katie. Mm-hmm. Why shouldn't I want to hug and love this woman? She created that. It's amazing. She's incredible. I should be able to meet that.
I
and
agree.
your parents too, Will.
I agree.
I'm coming for your parents too. Whoever created the cloth, I'm on the way.
We'll make it happen. We'll make it happen.
Yes, sir. That's what I like to hear.
Dave still keeps in touch with George and Lisa.
We'll go out to dinner with all of our families in Kirk Heinrich.
Sounds like a good plan to me. All right, so we got a lot to get to today. We heard from a lot of people at Bulls practice. First, though, shout out to our friends from Sunnyside hanging out with us here in studio today.
Sunnyside's in here.
Tomorrow's Thursday.
Your days, your nights, your weekends, all of it.
I am
the
ready for
rest
Sunnyside
of
is
the Bulls
tomorrow.
season.
Yes, man.
And probably the next one.
This is how he's getting through the season, right here.
Are you kidding me? February through April, Bulls basketball? Yeah.
Sunnyside.
I'm going to be hitting up my friendly neighborhood Sunnyside.
Mango gummies, baby.
With shout out Good News Gummies, man. They are the best.
Let's go.
Yeah, wonderful people. They've been partnered with us for a long time.
Yeah, man.
Love the partnership. They also hooked us up with some of our sponsored content out in Summer League. Summer League vibes.
It's good times.
Sunnyside
vibes. They
vibes.
spread the good news and joy is what
true.
they do. All right? That's
true.
all they are about. Thank y'all for being here.
Appreciate y'all. Ready for a hard pivot from good news?
No.
We heard a lot of Bulls
Why can't
people.
we stay here?
We got to talk about what we heard the Bulls say today.
Chris does. Chris likes hearing about the Bulls. Okay, all right, let's do it.
27 games left, y'all. Here we go.
All right.
So Bulls had a team practice today. They then headed out for their game at the Garden against the Knicks tomorrow to resume post All-Star break. But so we heard from Billy. We also heard from a couple of the players. Let's start with Modest. who was the Bulls representative at All-Star Weekend. And
Lonzo was there too.
Lonzo was there too?
Introducing Jello.
Was he? I missed that
He
part.
did. He introduced Jello to do
Yes,
his.
the highlight of All-Star
Oh,
Weekend,
what?
LiAngelo Ball dropping his hit song.
Oh, Kendrick, watch out. Oh, my gosh.
Really?
That heat.
You're going,
Oh,
Kendrick,
that
watch
heat.
out.
Kendrick don't want none of that. Are you crazy? He ain't making no songs about
He's being
LiAngelo.
sarcastic.
It's the real. It's the realest.
Obviously, a disappointment that Modest did not win the dunk contest. But
Yeah.
He did show some respect to Mac McClung. He was like, yo, that dude crazy. He jumped over a car.
That dude crazy.
He was like,
but
he's probably 6'2", or maybe 6'1",
then
maybe
he said
6
he's
foot.
actually
or
5'11".
maybe 5'11".
But I think more interestingly, Modest was also asked, I can't remember if it was Joe or Sam, somebody asked him about like the back end of the season and what he's looking forward to. And Katie, if you have that clip from Modest, let's roll that.
Still make a legitimate run and, be a contender for Rookie of the Year.
Most definitely. It's definitely, I would like to win that award for sure, but I also want to win as many games as possible. But, if you win the games, then you'll be in that conversation also. So definitely looking forward to that.
I mean, have you looked, at 55 games in, what the other guys have done and said, hey, I can make a run now?
I looked at it a little bit, but focus on myself and this team, just getting better, and I could definitely make a run for it. I definitely believe that, and I'm going to, manifest it.
What do you feel?
There you go. That's Bulls rookie Modest Buzelis at practice earlier today, talking about manifesting, making that late run for Rookie of the Year, Dave. We've talked about how much we love this young man's confidence.
Yeah.
And in this stretch of games leading into All-Star break, when we saw him get real minutes for the first time all season, and you see the productivity and the efficiency, I don't think he's crazy, because the field for Rookie of the Year is not all that intimidating.
No, he
needs to put up some incredible games down the stretch, but he thinks it's doable.
Yeah, it's Castle and then the field. I feel like it's like that.
Yeah, and like the Grizzlies guys, right? Edie and Jalen Wells.
Yeah.
But they're like
players,
solid contributors on a good team.
Exactly.
They're not even like Jared McCain. If Modest does what Jared McCain did during his first section for the rest of the way, I think Modest will probably win, because it's like the recency bias and like having done it, towards the end of the year, improving along the way. I don't think that there's anybody that's going to just finish much stronger. I mean, Castle, I think maybe could be that guy, but they bring in Fox. Like, that's going to take touches away from him. So Modest has the runway. He's obviously, it's important to him. Like he says the right things, right? He's talking about, we want to win games, and if you win, it will come. But like, he wants to win this award, and I think he's going to go for it.
Yeah. I hope it's just about the opportunity, right?
Yeah, and I think he'll have that too.
So I think Billy will give him a chance to get out there. We'll see how many 30-minute games he gets, but I think we can kind of pencil him in for like 20 plus, though. We could definitely.
I think he should be around 30.
Okay. Hopefully he's around 30 minutes a game.
The edict I gave Billy was 30 a game or we riot.
Yeah.
And he has not been living up to that so far.
This is true, and this is why I saw you go to the hardware store and I got concerned, because torches and pitchforks
are on sale, y'all.
So yeah, but I love the fact that he still wants it. I really enjoy the fact that it really means a lot to him. He is driven by these kind of things, and he has an opportunity to go in there and do it. It's all about him just continuing to be consistent. I want to see how many plays he actually gets drawn up for him now in the second half of the season. That's going to be a part of it. Billy kind of has teased that a little bit, talking about putting him in pick and roll actions and doing things like that. I'm interested in watching Modest more in a one-on-one kind of situation, because I think he can really be good in that, from the handles that you talk about all the time that he has, but also the quickness and the quick moves that he has in getting to the bucket. That'll be great. Once he gets a little mid-range game with that, it's going to be nasty. But, yeah, I'm glad he's going to get this opportunity to do it. He truly, truly wants it. I would love to see him get it. It would mean a lot to him, because he wants this kind of stuff, bro. And it's just rare right now for as a Bulls fan to see somebody who truly wants something, out of the season right now. And it just makes me feel good. And I hope he gets it, man. Yeah, seriously.
So what do you guys think he needs to do in order to win it? Because like we talked about, like the field is pretty wide open. I think he's at he's like not at a disadvantage right now, but he's got some ground to make up.
Yeah.
But it's not out of the realm of possibility. Like if he basically plays the way that, if he's 15-5-5 the rest of the way, or 15, 5 and a block and a half or something, like I think that puts him in pretty good standing.
Mm-hmm.
The minutes have to be
he
there,
needs to
but,
bring
like,
his season average numbers up from where they are, and do so by having some big games over these final 27.
Yeah,
because he's not winning Rookie of the Year with the numbers he has right now.
Exactly. No, because that's what it's going to boil down to for any rookie. It's not, they're not going to go inside the numbers. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to a rookie, you're going to look at the base.
Right.
Points, rebounds, assists, blocks, steals. That's it. Outside of that, they're not caring about your efficiency, field goal percentage. You know, maybe your wins might matter. Maybe they might matter, but usually when your team is just, usually when you're a rookie, your team isn't that great.
And
so it's very rare.
You bring up wins, so did Modest. I don't know if you caught that.
I did.
But,
I heard him.
He said,
I heard him.
I want to win this award for sure, but I also want to win as many games as possible. Parentheses.
Yeah.
No thanks, Modest.
No thanks. We appreciate it.
We need to get you a running mate near the top of the draft.
No, I like where his head is at.
He can want to win.
What? Yeah, sure.
I like where his head is at.
Sure. I'm just saying.
Man.
We all know, brackets, what's going on here.
And honestly, if he has a game where it's 30 plus and he carries the Bulls to a victory,
I'm not mad at
I'm
that.
okay with that. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, like when he had his perfect 10 for 10 game. The Bulls beat the Nuggets.
Awesome.
Was that game?
Heat.
Okay, right.
Even better.
But so Modest said, if you win the games, then you'll be in that conversation also. That conversation meaning individual awards.
Yeah.
And that we've always known that to be true. As far as NBA individual awards, they tend to go to players on teams that are winning.
Yeah.
So Modest understands that, but also just as much as understanding that, he is clearly hungry to win.
Yeah.
He doesn't care that he's a rookie on a bad team right now. He wants to win.
Yeah, man. And I appreciate that mentality that he has. I want to win. I want to play. I don't want him to get used and comfortable to losing, because again, that's hard to get off you. That's a stank that's real hard to get off you, bro. I don't care how much soap you put on you. That's a stank that's hard to go away. Look at Kobe, you know what I mean? Look at Pat, look at them.
Look at Zach, man.
Look at Zach. Sometimes you develop losing habits and you don't even know it. So I don't ever want that to be a part of his game or a part of his philosophy. So, yes, go out there and try to win. It's up to other Bulls to do your jobs.
Hey.
Cough, cough. Patrick Williams.
You know,
Ahem. Oh, you mean the new running mate that the Bulls are thinking about for Modest?
Oh, Lord.
Pairing Modest and Patrick Williams together? Running of the Bulls.
Well, you know what? Fine. Put Pat at the 3. Put Modest at the 4. Let me see it, because I said I wanted to see that.
It. That's what this
before
season should be about.
Let me see it.
Let's experiment. Let's see how these young guys play together and see if they can do that moving forward.
Yeah, I want to see that.
It doesn't necessarily have to be results driven in terms of wins and losses for you to determine whether it works, but like, are they complementing each other? Like, are they making each other better? Do they fit together? Can you play a certain style with them together on the court? Like, Billy's been hesitant to play them together so far because he wants to have multiple ball handlers out there. Mm-hmm. And if you have Vooch, who's not really like creating offense off the bounce, you have Modest and Patrick out there. Mm-hmm. The whole ball handling responsibility falls on your backcourt.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Io and Kobe, Lonzo and Giddey, whatever combination of those guys, it's all on them. And so like, but now it's an opportunity to see, can Modest do some of that?
Yeah.
And that's what I'm excited about to watch for the rest of this.
And we heard Billy talk about that, a couple weeks ago when Modest's minutes started to increase and like, okay, what's next? Billy was talking about on ball, and ball handling responsibilities and doing more and running more of the offense through Modest. Mm-hmm. So as a Bulls fan, you have to hope that we're going to see a substantial amount of that, a substantial increase in that over these #final 30 games, but only 27.
Tree close.
Because like if you're not doing that in these next 27 games, what the heck are you doing?
Yeah, seriously. What are you out here for? I also want to see him with Giddey, because I told you there's something with Modest and Giddey, only because it just they fix what each other doesn't do, kind of thing. Like Modest enjoys, when guards are looking for him, because Modest likes to get out on the break. He likes to run. That is exactly what Giddey likes to do. He likes to run, and he's looking ahead and trying to find out who's running with him. So there could be a connection there with those guys. I want to see that also in these next
and
games.
in a similar way, Lonzo Ball, who missed the last 4 games leading into the All-Star break because of illness, he looks to be making his comeback, and somebody else who Modest can benefit from playing with in those off-ball situations as well as transition. Yeah. Speaking of Lonzo, we heard from him at practice today too. We are going to listen to that clip about him talking his new contract right after this break. Hit the thumbs up button for crying out loud if you haven't done it yet, so Katie doesn't have to chase you down the alley.
She will hunt you down.
Hit the like, because we're going to share some ads anyway.
Yeah.
Multitask.
Do it both. Look at that thumb. Oh, look here. It's time to look into the future. Let's see what we got.
Tell me what you see, Dave.
That's all we got right here, baby. Let's
Do you
turn
see
them
a
up.
number 1 pick?
Let me see right
Please
here.
Tell me.
Well, I see a lot of sunny side in your future.
Woo! Let's go.
Got that. I see that for sure. See people hitting it up online. See people going to the store. Getting their sunny side on in there. Yeah. All right. I see that. I see. Go. Tell me what you look out of there.
I'll look at the draft pick situation.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you on that. Go. Good looking out,
Look at
sir.
the draft picks.
Because no matter what outdoor activity you prefer, it is always important to have your best view. Right On Optics offers a full range of optics products so you can see clearly like the GOAT is doing right now. They've been around for over a decade. Every product receives a full quality control inspection. The Right On Promise unlimited lifetime warranty. Ooh. It not only covers defects, but also accidental damages from drops like that. Yeah. Still fine. Still okay. Look at it. And he tossed the hat on top of it. It's still okay. It's still all right. Still good, man. Get better at looking at everything. Everything. Quality products you know that you can trust. That's Right On Optics, y'all. Check out the full line of Right On products today at rightonoptics.com/CHGO. That's RITON optics.com/CHGO. Right On Optics. I see you.
Today's show also brought to you by our friends at Circa Sportsbook. Guys, football's over, and I am sad about it.
Yes, you are. You've been very sad.
It means we just got Bulls basketball for the next 2 months. But that's okay, because we also have other NBA basketball. Yes. We got hockey. We got the Four Nation face-off. It's fun stuff.
Yo, dude, it's going
USA
down.
In the championship game tomorrow night. Whatever the sport, the place to get your bets in this spring is Circa Sports Illinois. Who are we kidding? It's still winter. Circa Sports, it's sports betting the way it should be. Mm-hmm. Circa Sports Illinois has high betting limits, low holds, and exceptional customer service. I'm talking customer service featuring humans on the other end of the telefono. None of these bots, none of this AI bullcrap. Humans, chatbots. Customer service. We will fight. We will not lose the battle against the machines.
John Connor.
Shout out Arnold. Bet on all your favorite teams in every game this season. Spreads, props, futures, even in-game betting. Circus Sports has it all. Fund and bet like a pro from anywhere, anytime in Illinois. Mm-hmm. Download your new bookie today at circusports.com. Must be 21 and older. A gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Yeah.
Rolling right along. CHGO Bulls. The eve of the league resuming tomorrow night. Bulls, Knicks in the Garden. But in the meantime, breaking down what we heard from a couple of players and their coach at practice earlier today, let's move to Lonzo Ball. The big news on the heels of the Zach LaVine trade, the other major transaction, was the Bulls and Lonzo coming to terms on a new 2-year, $20 million contract with a team option in year 2 to keep Lonzo around. We heard flowery things from AK at his trade deadline day press conference about why they chose to keep Lonzo around when there was lots of speculation about him being a potential trade candidate, a trade target from a handful of teams. And Lonzo, I believe, for the first time since signing that new deal, spoke to GOAT and his fellow members of the Bulls beat en masse and had some thoughts on choosing to stick around. Katie, if you will.
Let's do it.
Just the overall picture. I mean, from the doctor being out here to how they dealt with the rehab process with me in the last couple of years, the relationship I have with the front office, the coaching staff, the young guys here. So it kind of just all made sense for me to stay. That's what I wanted ultimately, and ended up coming to a good day.
You obviously also involved in trade rumors. Did you entertain maybe pursuing one of those options, or was always coming back to your first choice?
To be honest, I just wanted to stay here. I'm in trade talks pretty much every year, so that's not a new thing for me. But I expressed to my agent, to the staff that I would like to stay, and they wanted to have me, so it all worked out.
Hey Lonzo, I mean obviously the contract's very team friendly. Was that done on purpose because of what the Bulls did, sticking by you, making sure? I mean you were under contract, so they had no choice, but at the same time, they kind of kept believing that you were going to come back when a lot of people didn't. I mean, did the price tag have anything to do with the loyalty of what they showed? You the last 2.5 years?
For sure. Like I said, they've been with me, through the probably toughest journey in my life so far. So just trying to give back, man, and be loyal to me. And like I said, it's a mutual agreement. They wanted me here, I wanted to stay, so it wasn't too hard of a negotiation.
That's Bulls guard Lonzo Ball talking earlier today after practice about choosing to stay here in Chicago, saying that it's what he ultimately wanted. And they ended up coming to a good deal. Citing the Bulls medical staff, obviously the doctor who performed his surgery, coaching staff, front office, saying, everybody was on the same page. He also, in response to Callie's question there towards the end, saying that he felt like the Bulls showed him a substantial amount of loyalty and not giving up on him in any way. Like, people were talking about like the Bulls waving and stretching Lonzo when he was going through all of these rehabs and all of these surgeries, and the fact that the Bulls held firm in their belief that he would come back after all of these surgeries and rehabs is something that Lonzo appreciated.
Yeah, he also went on to say like that loyalty is just really important to him, and like he kind of views it as like this is his family here. And so I think like we talked about it before the deadline. I didn't think it was going to happen midseason, but like the idea that they could potentially look to extend him on a team-friendly deal with the team option so that then he would be tradable down the line. And he also expressed that like he understands that this is a rebuilding situation and that he's now going to be in like a veteran mentorship, situation. He's one of the vets on the team. He's one of the older players, which he said was kind of crazy because he's only 27, but he's going to be helping some of these young guys get better. And that's what he does. That's what he does as a basketball player in general, is help guys be better around him. So, we can debate whether we think it was the right idea to extend him as opposed to maybe take the rumored trade out there for him for a first-round pick and what the details of that might have been. But I do think that getting him, like, it's not a bad thing to get him back on a team-friendly deal. And as he said, he did want to be here.
We talked about this when this topic came up about Lonzo and him still being here, and we talked about loyalty. And I definitely talked about loyalty because I was using myself as a frame of reference because I'm a very, 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 very loyal human being. Like, it's worked out for me in some occasions. It's not worked out for me in some occasions, but I sleep at night because that's who I am. And I talked about that because it felt like that's what it was with Lonzo, and it felt like that's what it was with the Bulls. We both said, Matt, that when Lonzo got hurt, there was no way the Bulls were going to let him go. We both were like, that's not the Bulls' MO. Like, they don't do that to players. They hold on to them. They do right by them. You can go all the way back to Jay Williams when he lost his basketball career from riding a motorcycle, even though it was in his contract that he shouldn't be riding a motorcycle. The Bulls still took care of him. So it's what they've done. You can say that about the Bulls. They're definitely loyal to their players, and they look out for those kind of things. Lonzo always struck me as a loyalty guy. So for him to hear him come out and say that, and to confirm that, I kind of gave it a discount deal also because of the loyalty that they've shown to me. He confirmed that for us also as well. So I'm not surprised by it. It's cool to hear him say it because it's what I always kind of thought. So, I'm not shocked by it. I'm interested to see how it goes after the first year. I think they'll give him that team option. I think they'll bring him back regardless of how he plays. I think they'll still bring him back. And that because of the loyalty that they have. I don't want it like that because I'm thinking more so, what you were talking about when you said sign him and then maybe if he plays well during the season, get a first-round pick out of him. Well, they just kind of showed me that those picks don't really matter to them right now. So that's why I'm saying I don't foresee them doing anything like that. But kudos to Lonzo, man. And honestly, kudos to the Bulls for just being that kind of loyalty to their kind of players to make someone want to stay here, because they just made somebody want to stay here, dog. For whatever reason you want to say, like, well, he felt obligated or whatever, he still is choosing the Chicago Bulls.
So I see it a little bit differently. I think that, like, the idea of Lonzo taking a discount, I just, like, he missed 2.5 years of basketball. He's a brand new meniscus. I don't really see this as, like, him taking a discount. I think this is probably the most money he was going to get from a team. And in order for him to get $10 million a year, he needed to have that team option on the second year. So I think this was the Bulls giving him probably more money than anybody else was going to give him because of the fact that they could get the team-friendly deal. And then ideally you look to move him this summer, as soon as this summer. Like, if you go into the summer and Lonzo's made it through the full year and now he's making $10 million a year instead of 20, like, and you had a first-round pick on the table for him at the trade deadline, like, you got to get something at the draft. And, like, maybe they want to kick it down the line to the trade deadline. I think that would be a mistake. Like, you got to at some point start collecting picks. To me, this was like the Bulls guaranteeing him some future money, which was important to him, for them to be able to use him as a trade chip.
So you're saying you think the Bulls will be looking to trade him in this offseason?
I think they absolutely should be. Yeah. I'm not sure that they will, but I think they absolutely should.
I don't think they will. That's why that's interesting to hear.
I mean, the reason to do that was because you can get you can turn him into a pick. Like that to me was always the point of this. And so like I don't know what they're gonna do, but like that has to be part of the calculus because I mean you don't like you're going into a rebuild now. You're trying to clear your books long term. Like you don't invest in a 27-year-old with knee problems so that you can keep him around. You know, like that. I think the point of this was to make him a more appealing contract to other teams so that you don't have to take on the $20 million to get the first round pick in the summer. You just give him up because he fits into the mid-level exception, trade exception that teams now have. And now you can get a real first round pick for him.
Or GOAT.
Or
is he one of 9 to 10 very good players?
Yes!
Yeah, I mean, and that's like a bigger question about like, I think the Bulls are at this crossroads right now where it's like they're in a relatively clean spot, right? Like we've used the analogy of like the blank canvas. They're out from the Zach contract. They're out from owing their draft pick. Like they can go in a couple of different directions here. After next season, they have almost no money on the books. And so whether or not they double down on Lonzo, whether or not they extend Giddey at a palatable number, whether or not they trade future first round picks now to get a guy, like that's going to tell you a lot about how this front office sees things and like what direction they're going to start to go. And like, I don't know if they deserve the benefit of the doubt anymore based on their previous actions. Like it's been 5 years and basically you're back to square one.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure I'm ready to do that.
They do not.
But like, that's when like, I think it is fair to start warning people against, okay, these are the bad decisions that they can now make now that they have their picks back or now that they have their books clean. And like, they can't go down that route. They have to go the other direction with it.
So let me look at it this way then about Lonzo. So if you're saying, you look to trade him in this offseason and get a first round pick, for him, how important is his play in this next 27 games to kind of ensure that if that's the route they're going to take?
Well, so that was another thing that I asked him was just like, does this now having guaranteed money for next year take any pressure off of you where you're not forced to try to extend your minutes limit? You're not forced to try to make back-to-backs a thing for you. You're not forced to come out every game if you've got a nagging injury because you already have that money guaranteed. And he said, like, I don't really think about it that way. Like, I just want to play basketball. I want to be here, out here as much as I can. And I think that's true, but I also think the organization and he have been very smart about keeping him afloat, right? Like you can't just like risk his body right now for this situation. So I think him getting through the season is important. I think him continuing to play well and maybe shoot a little bit better is important.
Okay.
But I don't think that Lonzo playing all 27 of the next games, averaging 32 minutes a night, and putting up numbers like I don't think that is as big of a deal. I think it's more, can he get through a season? Can he play almost 30 minutes a night? And can he be healthy now? Like that's the big question with him.
That's so interesting. Like if that about Lonzo, it's not so much his points or his stats, it's can he make it through, because everybody kind of feels like you already know what you're getting.
You feel the impact with him more than you need to see it in the box score.
For sure, 100%. He's not a box score player. He is a high IQ player who makes everybody around him better.
That says something to his talent. That's
people in the comments chiming in on Lonzo. Fish saying happy for Zoe. Johnny Pigeon, gotta be happy for Zoe. Dude worked his butt off to get back and fight through all that rehab. Our guy French Bulls fan saying keeping Lonzo's a group move, and if they want to trade him this summer, he's on a great contract. Going along with what Goat was saying. Fish saying he likes the deal for Lonzo. Johnny saying, I like the deal, but would have liked a first rounder more. Hopefully they can still get one for him the next deadline, or even sooner than that. And to your part of the discussion about the loyalty thing, Dave, I think that's what Fish is alluding to, saying, tell that to Adama in reference to the Bulls. Adama Sanogo was waived earlier today. So the Bulls could bring in some other hotshot from the G League who's having a great season. I can't remember his name right now.
The loyalty is he had 3 years?
Well, no. But, loyalty is maybe different for different caliber of player. But, yeah, so they waived Sanogo today, who's going to be out for at least the next 4 weeks. But the loyalty thing is interesting to me.
Okay.
Especially if you're talking about clean books and improving this team, not just through the draft, but if AK has some plans up his sleeve in free agency, the Bulls have failed to land big-name free agents. Time and time again. Doesn't matter who's running the front office. This organization has failed to land the top-tier free agents on the market. And is that in any way attached to what their outside perception is? How they treat their players?
Yeah.
Lonzo's thing could work in their favor there. Who knows?
That's what I was thinking.
We got to take a break, but if they turn around and trade him in a couple of months, then less so with the whole loyalty thing. We got to take a second break. We'll come back and dive into what we heard from Billy Donovan at practice today. You brace yourselves.
Save me, Ray!
Hey.
Oh, just give me a car, please, Ray. Drive me away from this foolishness. Oh, yes. Auto show deals are going on right now at Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake. That means the latest vehicles you've been looking for are now priced with huge auto show savings. Like $11,000 off MSRP on new Chevy models, or check out their selection of over 125 vehicles priced under $20,000. It's awesome. With one of Chicagoland's largest inventories, you're sure to find the perfect vehicle for you. And as one of the top-selling Chevy dealers in the Midwest, they'll be able to keep their prices competitive so you won't have to go searching for a great deal. You'll know you'll get one with Ray Chevy. Plus, Ray's Price Promise, y'all, lets you shop confidently because New Day Rocks, that's wrestling. Because a guarantee of no add-ons, no hidden fees, and no gimmicks ever means the price that you see is the price that you're going to pay. You don't have to worry about price changing, stressful negotiation, or any woozies or wazies. The people at Ray Chevrolet just want to help you get into the right vehicle at the right price. So go see it for yourself, y'all. Visit our partner this February at their convenient location right on Route 12 in Fox Lake. And don't miss out on their auto show sales event going on all month long. Be a star of the show and take $11,000 off MSRP by shopping Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake or raychevrolet.com, because as y'all know, they've been serving the community since 1963. Together, let's drive.
Beep, beep. Today's show also brought to you by Lucy. Are you looking to level up your nicotine routine? You got to check out the wonderful variety of products at Lucy, offering 100% pure nicotine that is always tobacco-free. Lucy Breakers are nicotine pouches with an extra surprise. Each pouch holds a capsule that can be broken open to release extra flavor and hydration. Set yourself up with a subscription and have Lucy delivered straight to your door. They also offer just standard pouches without the breaker. They also offer gum if you like the more traditional route. And you are listening to and talking to a Lucy Breakers user right here. I am a longtime nicotine user, and I kicked the cigarettes a long time ago. Better than vaping, in my opinion. I keep these around whenever I have that little nicotine hit that, you know, just needs to be fed a little bit. And the variety of flavors are amazing. That flavor right there, apple ice, is my personal favorite. They got espresso for you coffee lovers out there. They got a bunch of different in the family of mints. They got berry citrus. Great flavors all around in the breakers, the regular pouches, and the gum. Check it out. They also offer a variety of strength as far as milligrams of the nicotine in each one. Let's level up your nicotine routine with Lucy. Go to lucy.co/CHGO and use promo code CHGO2025 to get 20% off your first order. Lucy also has a 30-day refund policy if you change your mind. Again, that is lucy.co and use promo code CHGO2025 to get 20% off your order. And here comes the fine print.
Hit 'em.
Lucy products are only for adults of legal age, and every order is age verified. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. Bada bing, bada boom.
Bada boom.
All right, y'all. With that, let us move to Billy Donovan, Bulls head coach, who is he's in a tricky spot, in my opinion, for these remaining 27 games.
That's a fact.
Especially after hearing what his boss, Arturas Karnisovas, had to say at trade deadline day. And what exactly this team's goals are for the remaining 27 games.
Still confused.
Hashtag last 30 games. So this is a bit of a longer clip, courtesy of our very own Will Gottlieb, from Billy talking at today's practice. And he's going back and forth here with Sam Smith, legend of the Bulls beat, about what exactly Billy's plan is as far as rotation, as far as who's getting what minutes, as far as prioritizing, planning the youth development for future seasons as compared to prioritizing wins down the stretch this season. So it's like, I think between 5 and 6 minutes, we're going to play this whole big clip for you, and then we're going to break it down after the fact because I found it to be a very fascinating conversation, shall we say. Katie, when you're ready.
For this past stretch.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I've spoken about this, even going back to I think media day, when we talked about that we're in this transition phase where things were going to be happening maybe during the trade deadline, the draft, and free agency and stuff. But I think at some point, like, you know, you got to be able to talk about winning, you know, and to your point, maybe the loss of DeMar and Alex and Zach in terms of the scoring and how great those guys are as players, losing those kind of guys certainly makes it challenging, right? But there also there is a responsibility, I think, by the guys that are playing, that how can they find a way as players to do things that are going to impact the outcome of the game. Now, with that being said, we could do those things and still fall short, but I think you've got to be accountable to those things. You know, it can't be, hey, listen, right now we're just in a developmental stage, or hey, right now we're just going to let these young guys play. And it's like, okay, whatever happens, we're going to give them minutes. Like, they've got to understand how they impact winning.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be an either or. Either we play to win or it's development. You know, you can do kind of a shakedown cruise. It's like you have a couple of new players. Let's see what they can do. You've got Patrick, who you moved to the bench, and he's talked a lot about, you know, maybe I'm a wing player, maybe matching him with Modest, doing things that, you know, portend toward the future. You know, given, as you just pointed out, three of your four best players are no longer with the team.
Right.
So, you know, it's one thing to say in training camp, it was you should, we're about winning. Now you're 50 whatever games in, 27 left, and you just really got beaten up for a week. You know, at this point, don't you have, I mean, it's asking, don't you have to make some judgments about what's best for the future of the franchise rather than just this season?
Yeah, I don't think it's that when I'm saying that is for the future. Like, if we don't do a good enough job collectively, players and coaches, in maximizing what goes into it, how can you possibly be preparing for the future? So right now, winning is not important, but then it's going to be important.
Winning is always important.
Right, but I guess maybe I don't understand the question.
But I'm saying, you know, what are you going to prioritize going forward? Are you going to say, okay, we're going to try to win every single game because we've got to get in the play-in? Or, you know, I want to take a look at these guys in here, and maybe want to start the guy from San Antonio who hasn't played much, the center, and maybe give Vooch some rest. You know, those kind of things. That's what
I'm wondering. I think those things to me, I think, are things that, you know, inevitably would happen, right? Like, we've got to find out about Kevin Huerter and Trey Jones and Zach. And it's been a little bit more challenging with Zach, as I mentioned, being the center spot. The other part of it, too, you know, is for someone like Vooch, is to tell him, hey, listen, you're just going to rest, you're not playing today. Why would you do that to a player who's a veteran guy who's trying to win and you tell him he's not playing tonight? What kind of message does that send? Now, if he's hurt or he's not playing well and you want to take a look at somebody else, that's fine. Or do we want to look at maybe playing two guys? Well, I get that.
I don't want to interrupt, but but I did. Just so devil's advocate, you know what Vooch can give you. Mm-hmm. You know, so why put him out there for 30 minutes? You don't know what the other guys can give you.
That's exactly right. But as of right now, Vooch is back here next year.
Yeah, no, I know. But you already know who he is. I mean, if you didn't play him a minute for the rest of the season and you played him and you came into camp, you know who he is.
I get that, but who was on our bench in a moment of time when you're playing in a game? The responsibility I have is to winning and is to putting the guys that are available out there that give us the best chance to do that. I just feel like that's my job and my responsibility, you know, as a coach, to sit there and go into an NBA game and say, hey, let's just try this and see what this looks like, and hey, let's just try that. I first of all, that's not me. That is definitely not me. And, you know, do we need to look at an 82-game schedule? Like, Julian's been in and out of the rotation some. Probably these new guys have impacted him some. Same thing with Dalen. Patrick's gone to the bench. We have tried to play Modest and Patrick a little bit together. But I don't think you can come in here every single day. And if I was being totally transparent with the guys, hey guys, we're just going to try this and see what happens. Now, I do think there's going to be some of that just because we have new pieces and we don't know what combinations of players look like. But I think that there needs to be a responsibility that, you know, what do you do if you do that and the guy's not playing great, or he's not doing what we need to have done, or he's not accountable to the things that we need them accountable to? Like, I think you have to look at that. Now, I do think there's, without question, for me, there is some unknowns on how Kevin Huerter will respond, how Zach would respond, how Trey would respond, how they look together. We did experiment. I think it's been pretty good for us playing Lonzo and Josh together. Lonzo's going to be back here next year. I mean, the only person you're looking at right now that's not back here right now currently, and I know Josh is on a rookie contract, is Trey Jones. So if you're talking about the future, right now we've got to be talking about doing things on a daily basis that are going to impact our future in a positive way. And I just am not a big believer of taking games and just saying, let's just see how this looks.
All right. So there were a lot of thoughts from Bulls head coach Billy Donovan earlier today, courtesy of the GOAT.
Thank you, GOAT.
Also, shout out to Sam Smith. I mean, talk about a wily vet just refusing to accept
That's how
Billy's
it's done.
answers.
That's how journalism is done,
Sam was
kids.
like, okay, no, but.
Yeah.
Okay, no, but.
Yeah, that's how it's done.
Well, I think it speaks to the challenging position that Billy is in right now.
Bingo. Yeah.
Where you have a front office who has said one thing basically and done another.
Mm-hmm.
I guess they really haven't committed to any one direction, right? Like they trade Zach, they trade DeMar, they trade Caruso, and yet they still want to remain competitive. They don't want to bottom out. But you're not like, so those moves would signal like a full teardown and rebuild. But then you hang on to some of the other guys that you could get value for. And then, you continue to make the play-in like a headline of these press conferences. And look, the Bulls are in a play-in spot right now. I think it would be a very bad look. And this is like, I do think that the Bulls are overly cautious about this whole, the league coming down on them, integrity of the game, all that stuff. Like at a certain point, by not just committing to it a little bit more at the start of the season, they're going to have to be more egregious down the end. And I think that's what's going to get them in trouble if they do it. So I think they're just in a tough spot right now. And it would be bad if they aggressively tanked out of, let's say it comes down to the last game of the year and they're in Philadelphia, or maybe it's in Chicago. They're playing Philadelphia and the winner gets the 10 spot and the Bulls sat everybody. Like that's the kind of thing that would get them fined by the league.
Sure.
And right now they're in the position where they're in the 10th. So, but it's like, it can be unspoken. You don't have to like acknowledge that. You can just say, we're building towards the future. We're taking a step back to take multiple steps forward down the line. We need to evaluate what we have in these younger guys. And I think to Sam's point, you know what you have in a guy like Vooch. You know what you have in a guy like Lonzo. Do you need to play those guys so much for the sake of them playing because you want to try to win? Or do you need to evaluate what you have in Zach Collins and give, some of the younger players more of a look to determine what they need to do in order to decide whether they need to be around next year? I think the big one is Giddey. You don't know if you're going to sign him to, you don't know what kind of contract you're going to sign him to because his contract is up, and it's hard to evaluate how he factors into a winning team ultimately when your team is not trying to win, right? And so I think that's the challenge that Billy's under right now. And it's why having a more clear and concise message about the direction of the team from the front office and or from ownership would have been really productive. They didn't do that. They I think confused more people than what they were able to clear up. And so I think that's the challenge there. But I do think, to Billy's point, it's hard, I think, to evaluate a guy when you're not putting him in. If you're trying to evaluate how a guy's going to look in a winning situation in 3 years' time, it's hard to look at him in a situation where you're saying it's okay to lose, do whatever you want. I think that's what they're trying to avoid. So, but it's to Sam's point, it's a middle ground. It doesn't have to be one or the other. And I think Billy can't come out and say that. I also think as a coach, he's in a position where he does want to try to win every game. And that's why the criticism to me falls more on the front office, that they have to be the ones striking that balance. And when you don't commit to one side or the other and you're not striking the balance, like, what are you doing? And that's, I think, where the Bulls are in right now. And it's why there are so many fans that are frustrated. There's people who are supposed to be closer with the team in the media who don't really understand what the agenda is here. And it's why when you say you're trying to win, but your actions indicate that you're not, but you say you're trying to win, we have to hold you accountable to that because that's what you're publicly stating. And so I think it just puts them in a bad position when they're not clear about where they are. And I think long-term, I don't know what their real agenda is. Like, I don't know if they're going to go out and make like a move for like a fringe all-star next year to try to kickstart this thing now that they got their picks back, or if they're going to try to do it the right way and take the slower approach and rebuild through the draft.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know the answers to that right now, but I do think that when you leave it unclear for so long, it can really frustrate people, and it can frustrate other teams around the league who want to do business with you, and they can't get a clear answer about what your objectives are. And so I do think at some point they need to just bite the bullet and say what they're doing, even if we can all assume, even if we feel like we can't safely assume. At some point they do, I think, need to be more clear about what their agenda is, because that's what is causing Sam Smith to have to ask these questions.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you this. If the Bulls did make it clear, the front office, if they did make it clear in the offseason that they wanted to be a team that was rebuilding, do you think that Billy Donovan would still be on board with that as far as how he's coaching?
I mean, I don't know. I think Billy would do what his bosses told him to do.
Sure, I got you.
Like, I don't think Billy's like this rogue agent that like that doesn't, like report to his like superiors.
Secret meeting with the players.
Like I think
really
Billy,
guys.
if there, and I think that's why Billy. A lot of people assumed Billy or heard that Billy didn't want to be in OKC because of the rebuild that they were going into.
He strongly refuted that in his pregame media availability a couple weeks ago.
He didn't say it publicly, but like what he was alluding to was he wanted to be involved in the process.
Mm-hmm.
And it did not sound like that was happening with Sam Presti. And so now he comes to the Bulls and he is involved in that process.
Sure.
And so that also means you have to answer to those questions when the front office won't do it. And so I think Billy, if he's on board, he has to get on board with the front office because they're the ones calling the shots.
Mm-hmm.
So whether he wants to or not, like if he wants to stay here, that's what he's got to do. Or, his contract, there's, reports of this. I'm not sure if it's been confirmed somewhere, but that the front office and that the coaching staff, Billy in particular, have had their contracts extended through next year from dating back to a couple of years ago. So is ownership going to be ready to move on from those guys and pay them to not be here for the final year of their contract?
Yeah.
Or are they going to be here? And so if you're going to be here, then you got to get on board with what the plan is. I don't think that like Billy has say in the direction of the team. I think he wants to feel involved in what the team is doing, but I don't think that those are necessarily the same thing.
I got you. Thank you for answering that. I don't disagree with anything you said. I think you're absolutely right. I agree with all of it. But it's also why I feel like Billy shouldn't be the coach of this.
Yeah, and to
Billy,
me, like...
hold on.
Sorry.
I think Billy is philosophically opposed to doing it that way. Just listening to him and hearing him speak over the years, even hearing him talk to Sam Smith, that's just not his way. It's not how he does. And it shouldn't be. Like, he's a coach that wants to go out there and win. He's going to put his best people on the floor to try to win. And I'm okay with that as far as his mentality is concerned. But if you're starting it over and you're starting a rebuild, I think you get a different kind of coach. Let me use Phil Jackson as an example. Phil Jackson isn't a coach I'm bringing in to rebuild. Phil Jackson is a coach I'm bringing in because we're ready to win. And if I'm ready to rebuild and start over, then it's not going to be with Phil Jackson. And this is an 11-time champion. You know what I mean? It's all this stuff. He is incredible. But philosophically, I think he's opposed to that because he's teaching people how to run when I'm still learning how to crawl. And I think they're still on the crawling kind of level. I don't think Billy's a bad coach. I disagree with all that when people call him terrible and all those things. Dude is not a bad coach. You can't last this long in this league being a bad coach. Like, dude can coach. But I just think it's philosophically opposed to what the Bulls are trying to do. And again, that's the front office's fault for, again, not making it clear, for, again, not making the right moves to say, hey, this is what we're going to do. We're going to start it over this kind of way. That is all of that is on the front office. But watching Billy and putting the team, I've disagreed with how he's put them in some games in the best position to win. I felt like some of those things weren't putting them in the best position to win in some of those games. He was just going more so with what he felt and more so of what he is comfortable with. Again, that happens. But I think when I watch him do the younger players, Will, and I get your opinion on this and yours too, when I watch him do the young players, it feels like there's a ceiling on top when he puts the younger guys in the game. It feels like if their head hits that ceiling once, then they got to come out, or they can't do this, or this is going to change. I feel like that with Modest. I feel like that with Dalen, with Julian. No matter if, and a lot of it could be right. as far as those guys. Maybe they just aren't ready to get out there and do those things. But I think these last 27 games, I didn't want a ceiling on the roof. Shout out Michael Jordan. I didn't want a ceiling on that roof. I just wanted them to hit their head on, as much as they possibly could, and then learn that way. Billy protects, those guys from certain things. Oh, we've heard him say it about Modest. Oh, he's going to get punked down there, in the lane and everything like that. I'm cool with that. I want him to get an elbow in his chest. You know what I mean? I want him to feel those things. I want Dalen to continue to mess up. I want Julian to continue to mess up. Because for me, that's how you learn. That's how you kind of grow. But when you're a coach that's still trying to win, that's not going to, jive with your philosophy. You know what I'm saying? And be cool with what you're thinking out there. But again, I don't put all this blame on Billy. I put some percentage on it, but it's all upstairs. Everything is the front office and what they're doing, what they put him in position to try to do, to go against this dude's philosophy and how he kind of is doing things. It's a failure for what the front office is doing for Billy Donovan.
I just want to add one more thing before Matt goes off here, because I want to let him do that. I think that, like, when you talk about like development versus winning, this is my kind of how I'm processing what Billy has said, is I don't think that you can develop without trying to win, right? So like, I think he sees those as, you need to be playing a certain style that contributes to winning. That is player development. It can't be rolling the ball out and letting them play like there are no rules. It has to be playing to winning style.
Yeah.
And it's hard to play to a winning style if the goal is not to win. And so I hear what Billy is trying to say.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say was just that I think those are two completely separate things. I think like Billy's form of development may not be for everyone. That's okay.
Sure.
But the issue here, to your point, is not Billy's brand of development versus another coach's. It's what is the organizational directive.
Correct.
And I think that's kind of what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, I see the logic in what he was saying with when he said, hey, it can't just be we're in a developmental stage, or right now we're just going to let these young guys play, and it's like, okay, whatever happens, happens. We'll give them the minutes. They've got to understand how they impact winning. I follow that logic because losing breeds more losing. Dave, you talk about it all the time.
All the time.
So I get that. But Billy Donovan also is not so dense as to think that this roster, when he, at the beginning of this conversation with Sam Smith, cited, well, we traded DeMar and Caruso and Zach, so you're probably saying, well, that probably means you're not trying to win anymore, right? And he said it in a way that, like, he was like, but then listen to this. It's about the young guys, the guys who are still here, still being held accountable when you're talking about winning practices, even if they fall short of winning games. I get that. Most of what I heard Billy Donovan say today was a coach who has been put in the most uncomfortable and just broken, busted-ass situation by the front office that he works with and works for. I mean, take his answer about Vooch when Sam Smith was like, well, you know who Vooch is. You know what you got with Vooch. What's this Zach Collins kid's deal? And Billy said, to tell Vooch, hey, listen, you're just going to rest. You're not playing today. Why would you do that to a veteran player who's trying to win and you tell him he's not playing tonight? What kind of message does that send? Okay, Billy, I hear you. That is AK's fault that Billy had to go out there and say that today as if it was something that he was standing firmly on.
Yeah.
Because why is Vooch still here? If Vooch wants to be a vet on a winning team, that ain't here. And you're making Billy Donovan stand up and defend this nonsense. Because Billy Donovan knows, he said it himself somewhere in that conversation. Hey, are we winning the championship this year? Nah. But he's talking about how he can't, afford to think further down the road and, more closely evaluate the young players the younger players they got in this trade from Zach LaVine trade to see what they have in him, because it's disrespectful to Vooch.
Yeah.
A vet who wants to win. What kind of message does that send? Yeah. Okay, but we also have heard that AK came onto the podium at trade deadline day and said, hey, well, we feel good about what we accomplished with the deadline, and there's still plenty more work to be done, and just y'all wait for the offseason. And, Cali came on to deadline show with us and basically said there's some belief that AK has some grandiose plans for this offseason, because Billy sat there and said, well, hey, if you're talking about the development and what's coming around the corner, this is what's coming around the corner. He cited the fact that other than Josh Giddey, who's on a restricted or will be a restricted free agent on an expiring, and Trey Jones, everyone else is under contract next season. Who is here right now? So this is what we got. He said Vooch is going to be here next season.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we're hearing reports like, maybe not. Yeah, maybe not. So that's what, like, when Goat is talking about, like, yo, which direction?
Yeah.
Where are you going?
Pick a lane.
And Billy has to go out there and talk to the media on a regular basis and try to make sense of this mess that AK has created.
Yeah.
And it's not fair to Billy Donovan. It is not. Because there are no right answers to these questions that he can say publicly without being scrutinized and without the league slapping the Bulls with a fine. And that is not Billy's fault. That is AK's fault. God.
Well said. How did you know he was about to go off?
Because I just felt it in my bones.
Felt in your soul?
It's just so freaking stupid.
I did too.
But I think we're all on the same page with it. Like, it's not a situation where, like, you look at, like, I always feel like you have to consider the decision makers in all of this. And I think you can even place the blame even higher on the totem pole, right?
Sure.
Like, that's where it really
tippy top
belongs.
Sure. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I just think as an organization, if you don't have goals and objectives, it's very hard to move towards anything. Like, you have to be clear about what you're trying to do so that you can make progress, right?
Yeah.
And I get that they are, but I think that maybe this is just what they're trying to do, right? They are trying to rebuild without bottoming out. And I don't think that's going to work. I have been very clear since the beginning. I think that half measures will result in you landing back in the middle.
Correct.
But when you try to do it this way, like, I just think this is what they're trying to do. They're trying to avoid having to sell off all their good players. They're hoping that they get lucky in the draft. And then they're hoping maybe they get lucky again next year. But that when Kobe and I are free agents, they can re-sign those guys and they'll be a cap space team and they can bring in a free agent and they'll have a couple of good draft picks. And now off we go. And maybe that'll work. But I think it's the same situation as before, where you leave yourself no outs.
Yeah.
When you like let the good assets on your team turn into liabilities, then you can't like pivot from anything. And that's why, like, going back to the Lonzo thing, it was like they didn't like stand by Lonzo. They were hamstrung by that contract. They couldn't get off of it. And like, you can't just waive it, because then you've got, I think it's like double the years plus one. So if they were to have waived him and stretched him 2 years ago, he's on your books for 5 more years. Like, they can't do that. And so I think it's more like they have had zero flexibility because of the roster that they constructed. They couldn't sign any free agents. They couldn't make any trades, and they weren't willing to take a step back. So what could you do? Other than just wait it out? And I think that's where we are now. They waited it out. They did use Zach to get off of the pick, which, by the way, they traded to get DeRozan, who they gave up.
Shout out.
Not smart. But that's where they are now. And I think, again, that's why I've been using the analogy of like the blank canvas. Is like, it's blank for now. And like, you can let them, like you give them the goodwill to be able to say, all right, we'll see what you do this summer. But like, the big decisions are happening this summer. That's when you've got to decide what you're doing with Giddey. And like, that's when the draft pick happens. So like, to me, the time to have made those changes is far in the past, but like, you really had to start so that you put yourself in a position to succeed this summer, not so that you have to put yourself in a position to make tough decisions. Because they've been doing that all along, and they just haven't had any real decisions to make. They've just had to wait.
Oh, that is a fact. My mother used to say, you can take a competent person and heap a bunch of stuff on their shoulders and turn that person incompetent. And that's what I think of when I look at Billy Donovan.
It's a bar.
When I hear that stuff, that's what I see. Like, Billy's a competent coach. I get it. But he's done some incompetent things. And some of them I don't think is because of him. Some of it I think is because of what he has to put out there on the floor. Now, some of it I do think is because of him. I'm not going to absolve him. I never will do that. But I feel like when he has to come out and say these kind of things and make him sound like that, you're like, man, that ain't how Billy B sounded. You know what I mean? That is not how he used to sound Will, you said something like earlier, like when their main plan is basically get lucky, in the draft. And I said this on Lakina's show when I was on Lakina's podcast, man.
Shout out Lakina.
I told her, I was like, this is the Bulls strategy, it's basically hope and luck. And as I tell you all the time, it's not a strategy. Hope is not a strategy. But right now, hope is their only luck, and luck is their only hope. That's it. That's all they got right now, bro. Like, that's how they're operating, is with hope and with luck. And that's all I have for the Bulls right now is I am like, dude, we have to get lucky with the draft pick to save them from themselves, because they're doing a poor job of saving their own selves. We are tossing them life rafts, and they are like, I don't want that one. I don't like that color. You know what I mean? But you're drowning. Get on a damn life raft, bro. Nah, that's not the one. We'll wait for the one that we like. You're dead. Yeah, man, that's how I feel about what they're doing as far as an organization.
Punctured Katie's heart with that hope and luck line right there. My goodness.
That was such a bar. Oh, my goodness.
Was.
That's going
to do it for those of you watching on our various streaming services and channels. Thank you for tuning in. If you want the bonus coverage, just head to allchgo.com as we wind things up here. It's just because I agree, Dave. I do think that Billy is a competent coach who's also not brain dead. Yeah. And he has to go out there and say these things that is like, okay, we know that Billy as a coach, X's and O's wise, has his flaws. Mm-hmm. We know what he's good at. We know what he's not good at. But he is in a no-win situation, and it does make me wonder, if he does want to be here. You've been talking about Billy and an exit strategy for a year now. Yeah. And you were talking earlier about how he had said a couple weeks ago when he was being very candid with the media, hey, do they want me here? Mm-hmm. I would love to be a part of building something, but what the F is this thing we're building?
What are we building?
I paraphrased. He didn't say what the F. He just said, what is this thing we're building?
It's a circle square.
But Bulls fans are saying, what the F are you building? Yeah. Here's another one. This is the last part of what Billy said that I want to reference, and then we can get, because my brain's broken. He said, everything that I've spoken to in terms of talking to ownership and front office, they expect us to go in there and compete and try to win. And if I'm sitting on the bench, I'm going to try to make the decision that I feel is best to help the team in that moment in time. I feel like that's my responsibility. That sounds like an NBA head coach who is reminding all of us, my responsibility is to win basketball games. Yeah. That is my job while coaching my guys. Mm-hmm. But as a Bulls fan, you hear that and you say, okay, is he actually still getting that mandate from ownership and from the front office? And I think our guy Fish brought it up in the comments earlier, they kept Vooch. So clearly, AK wasn't BSing when he said, we still want to prove that we can be competitive. We want to go to the play-in tournament and then hopefully the playoffs. Or is there some wink, wink, nudge, nudge, hey, the league is looking, so this is the party line. Yeah. We're going to be competitive. But we all know, Billy, what's going on here, and here's the plan for the offseason. Is it that, or is it this? And the fact that Bulls fans aren't confident in knowing which one it is terrifying and offensive and maddening. Yeah. Because it could be either one. And if it is the wink, wink, nudge, nudge, we'll get to there in the offseason, what evidence do we have to have any faith that when the actually, okay, we're going to go young, we're going to develop part of the plan, those wheels start rolling in motion, that they're going to do any of it correctly?
Exactly. Hope and luck, Matt.
It's either they're brain dead and think that they can be competitive with what they got now, and who needs a high draft pick? Or
they have a dead brain.
Yeah.
I think it's exactly what I was saying earlier. It's like they want to rebuild without bottoming out.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I think you're absolutely right in that.
And I think
and that terrifies me going into the offseason.
But here's the thing that's ironic about that.
Okay.
In his press conference, Arturas said, last time we hurried things along, we cut corners. That's to me what they're doing again now. It's now we have an opportunity to be patient. And it's but by not rebuilding the way that, by using the template that works, that's exactly what you're doing.
Yeah.
And so to me, I think it's possible, and I said this before, I think it's possible that they get lucky in the draft and you get Cooper Flagg and you make some strides, and maybe you get lucky again next year, and now you've got a couple of great players. Modest is looking good. You're able to keep Kobe and Ayo, and now maybe you can sign a free agent. That's, I think, the ideal situation. But there's a reason why, it sounds really good. Maybe it's a little too good to be true. And also, if other teams, if that was such a reasonable or like, you know, realistic pathway, other teams would be doing that. And you just don't see that. And so to me, like, I think that especially now, this is the time where, like, I mean, the Giddey contract is just such a big factor in all this because you have flexibility long-term cap-wise right now. You don't as soon as you sign that deal. And so, like, that's when you have to have a plan with that, not just for him in a vacuum, but you have to have a plan with that and how you absorb that. And yeah, I think they've been kind of given this situation where they can take this into the offseason, and like that's when it's go time. So we'll just have to see.
And that circles back to what you were saying towards the top of this conversation about like the Billy and young players and, you know, teaching them what goes into winning. They've got to understand how they impact winning, and the fact that for the first half of this season, Zach LaVine and Vooch primarily were leading you to a bunch of wins that put you in a position where you were afraid of losing your top 10 protected pick. And then that's what you go out and get in a trade for Zach LaVine.
Right.
And in many of those wins, in most of those wins, if you're talking about Billy teaching the young guys, hey, you got to figure out how you impact winning, is how many of those wins involved in any capacity the young guys on this team, many of whom were drafted by this team, impacting winning?
Not a lot. So
where is that lack of translation? I'm guessing that Katie's about to spin around a laptop that tells me to tell y'all to hit the like button. So there that
hit it.
There that is. But
yeah, I mean, I keep yelling at them and they're not listening. So I
hit
figured
the like.
I figured you guys could yell at them.
For the love of gosh.
Oh God, please.
Please.
She will hold things hostage.
But
in the name of likes.
But see, and then that goes, like, Dave, what you were saying, I think it was around trade deadline day when AK went out there and said, we're going to try and be competitive. We want to make the play. Then why did you trade Zach?
Like, for what?
If you're not pivoting to a younger team and a youth movement that requires you to, yes, Billy, play the younger players, and really what you want is to go and make the play-in tournament again, then why'd you trade Zach? It doesn't make sense.
It makes no sense at all. And then to put, you know, Billy in this position right here, like, obviously he's somebody you bring in when you're about to go to the playoff trying to get there. So you want to keep your best players. Well, you could have kept Zach, done the same thing you're doing right now, like be in the 10th seed. You still would have been there. And then after that in the offseason, gotten something even better for Zach LaVine and for Nikola Vucevic and all those other things like that. You could have did all that. But you said, nope, I'm going to rock this tightrope, even though I don't know how to walk a tightrope. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, do I wear shoes? I'm going to go ahead and wear boots. Like, it's making no sense because you're not picking a lane. It would make all the sense in the world.
It's an overcooked piece of spaghetti.
That's it. It would make all the sense in the world if you would just pick that lane. I think Bulls fans would be fine with that because we know what we're looking at. We get what we're seeing. If you said, you know what, we're going to go make the playoffs, we're going to be that team that tries and goes for it, I would hate it. But okay, you've already picked the lane. You made things clearer for Billy. You made things clearer for your players. You made things clearer for your young guys on your team. If you said, hey, I want to start over, cool. You made things clearer for Billy. You made things clear for the players. You made things clear for the young guys on your team. But to say, how about we try both? Then everybody's just brains explode.
That's the thing, though. Like, I think they are doing what they want to do. They're doing this like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. They're
That's what I'm saying.
Bad.
Like, don't do that. I'm saying don't do that.
But what you're disagreeing with is their plan, not how they're approaching it.
Yeah, because they have not picked a lane.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, we can all sit here and say they haven't picked a lane,
and
we know they haven't.
He's
but
saying
this is the lane they picked.
I get it. You're walking the tightrope, and that's what
I think
exploding
we're
our brains.
That's what allows them to say we want to make the play-in or whatever, but also we want to take a step back. They're doing both of those things. And again, I don't think you can do that.
Shout out to our
brain
guy,
guts.
Colin calling in the comments who said, I love how all these analogies make even more sense than AK just saying something clear and concise. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. That's how much nonsense is packed into the nonsense.
The Bulls fans are smart. Like, they're smart, though. Like, they know what they're looking at. They know what they're seeing. They just want to believe in something But it's hard to believe in something when it makes no sense at all. That's what makes it very hard to do. And we're not going to do that. Not going to believe in something that makes absolutely no sense, man. So 27, last 30 games. Let's get it.
It's all nonsense. It's malpractice. It's dangerous how badly this could go.
But like, here's the thing:
it
could work. Like, they could get lucky.
They could get lucky,
and they could retain Io and Kobe, and then get them again on cheaper deals.
That's what I'm rooting for.
And they could get another good pick next year, and then they could be a free agent destination.
Yes,
and sign somebody great.
All of this,
all that could work. It's just like it's not the most likely, and it's probably not even likely at all. It's just it's
not a strategy.
Yeah, when you not even that. Like, it is a strategy. It's not a strategy that's
never happened
very
before.
Strong.
There's zero evidence of it.
No, hope for me is not a strategy. That's just not a thing for me.
Well, that was an uplifting conversation. Bulls basketball is back, y'all.
And I love y'all. That's the funny part. I love the Bulls.
That's true.
I'm still gonna watch.
Whatever goes down next, we are all here for one another.
I'm here for it, baby.
That is it for today. Thank you for tuning in. Hit the like button. Do it for Katie. What are you waiting for? Come on now.
One more thing I wanted to tell you guys is that
yes, Kirk Heinrich. Have we heard from him?
I ran a poll during the show.
Okay.
Saying,
bring Mama Katie in?
Was Will Gottlieb wrong for not immediately texting me when he met Kirk Heinrich?
Immediately texting me.
The answer, yes, was the overwhelming winner.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like I didn't already admit that?
Also, wait, real quick.
No.
You're just rubbing it in.
No.
There wasn't no as an option.
Stop it, Matt.
It was yes, 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 and hit the like. Those were the poll options.
She's such a bully.
How many people hit the like?
I told y'all she's a bully. Like, she's a bully.
All that matters is that yes won.
Imagine apologizing publicly for something. And then being publicly shamed after that.
That's what bullies do, Will.
That's bullying.
That should tell you the gravity of the situation.
What you're doing now is worse than anything I did.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Yeah. Kirk is Katie's beef sandwich. Go, you don't mess around.
Which, by the way, I spent like 15 minutes last night making this lovely banner of your face, and then I come into work today to find out what you did to me. So
more bully. It don't stop.
The only way to resolve this whole situation is if you just hit the like.
I like how she's doing bullying from all sides. Like, it's aggressive, and then the passive aggressiveness of it, like it's bad.
The guilt, the shame,
all of it, dog. Like, wow, it's quite impressive. Quite impressive.
Yeah. Guilt and shame for everyone.
Shout out to y'all.
Bulls Nation.
Love y'all.
Oh, man. All right, we'll get out of here. We are back tomorrow. Bulls are back in action finally. Taking on the Knicks at the Garden, NYC. 6:30 Central Time tip. That means we'll be here for pregame live at 6 p.m. on the dot Central. Until then, you can follow Will _Gottlieb. He's perfectly coiffed. He is the GOAT. Even when he makes blunders, he is still the GOAT.
Yes.
Even when he doesn't set Katie up with Kirk Heinrich. Like, how inconsiderate. He is still the GOAT.
Yeah.
Big Dave is a bow. AWL Sports. I'm Bulls _Peck. We are CHGO _Bulls. And yes, that is the one and only queen of the controls.
Bullyfoot. Let's go.
Katie Duffy. Hit the like. Have a great night. We will talk to you tomorrow. Oh, real quick, for all you diehards out there, I'm going to be hanging out in the Discord later tonight around 9 o'clock Central. Let's continue this conversation, shall we? Because, woo, boy, never enough. So you're really good.
Sunny side.
Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.